Welcome back to another episode of the Day After Podcast.
What's up, guys?
And here we are with the this is like the official merge episode, I guess you would call it. And yeah, it was another chaotic episode. But before we get too much further into it, I do want to promote something that has just unlocked on our channel. Finally, we have a community page. So we can now actually post stuff. We can have polls for you guys to vote for who your favorite MVP of episodes are of the season, all this kind of stuff. Like all of this is going to be included. So even more stuff is coming here for the channel. It's great.
Yeah. It's always fun hearing back from you guys, and then also it might put some into certain arguments in between Joe and I.
Mhm.
Um, MVP is usually one of them. Also, a fun one we can do is like, what are your thoughts on Danny Boatwright?
Yeah, I was literally about to say that. So what is Danny Boatwright the greatest player ever?
Not even in the top 10. I don't think, I guess in the top 100 because yes, she won before, but like very low on the, much lower on that list than Russell had any business of putting her.
Yeah, I don't know. I think she's a great player that deserves to play again.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
Um,
So yeah, we got the community page open. So go over there now. There's currently already some polls up for you to vote for. Right now, the MVP of the pre-merge poll goes to Carla Cruz Godoy. She gets the most votes. So people really liked her pre-merge. Next was Cody, followed by Jesse. So definitely
makes
go
sense.
over there, make your votes, and yeah, let's try to get that really active because honestly, it's a lot of fun to be able to engage like that.
Yeah, yeah. Because I see it with different channels I watch too, that they'll post little fun stuff, and it's just fun. It doesn't take you to a different website, and then you have to answer like 50 things, like
Hmm.
stuff you see on Facebook. So yeah,
Yeah, all it takes is just one little click, and there you go.
yeah. So this episode, overall, was pretty good. It's just that
Poor Janine.
Janine had, she may be the most unlucky contestant of all time. One, losing her number one last episode. Two, losing her idol because she gave it to someone else to hold on to. That's like never happened before
Yeah,
in Survivor
that's
history.
we kind of called her having an unfortunate time on Survivor 43 and our Brant Steele. And it's not as like medevacy as that one kind of
I
foresaw.
wouldn't hold my breath on that. I mean, it's like with her trajectory of this
Yeah.
game, it's like,
Yeah,
damn,
and
like
don't forget about
it is
her luck
brutal.
about on day one or like day one or two, like getting that thing on her chin. So now she just got like, ooh, you're just seeing like a almost a bruise or something on her chin for the whole season. Like that's
Yeah,
another just like, oh, why did that have to go like that?
the woman is just unlucky. I mean, it wasn't bad gameplay too to like, give your advantages to other people. Fun fact, now just everyone knows who has what or all that.
Yeah,
Like I didn't know that Noelle told people about her steal a vote or anything, but apparently,
everyone knows everything. The second James sees that he has a knowledge is power as well, you know what the first thing is he goes
he
to?
tells
I'm telling
people,
everyone.
which did put a target on his back, but like, I guess people were hell bent on making a bigger move, quote unquote, and
Yeah.
decided to get rid of Dwight.
Yeah, James gets lucky by already being the target before that. And so then it was just like, okay, but like we got to make an unexpected move. The people are expecting him to go home. So why don't we switch it up?
Was Dwight, I know they wanted to weaken Noel, but was Dwight actually a big move?
No.
I think
So
unintentionally because of getting rid of an idol in the
so
game.
this was, at least in my opinion, a good move for Cody, because clearly Cody and Dwight weren't ever seeing on the same page that much. But terrible move for Jesse. I think Jesse losing Dwight here before Dwight even makes the jury. Like, he can't even vote for Jesse now at the end. Um, so like all of that kind of like relationship building that happened there is now kind of just, it was a waste of time. Um, I think that this move for Jesse is going to actually get him that fifth or sixth spots. Like I don't think he's winning now, because I just think cutting Dwight here was just way too soon.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I get why they wanted to do something unexpected, build that resume up. It's just like James made a lot more sense in the
Yeah.
long run because it's like, all right, he has a knowledge is power, and that is a pretty big advantage to have. And yeah, it's dependent on people like bringing their things and stuff like that, but it's another obstacle you have to consider. And case in point, it can end up backfiring, just like it did with Dwight and Janine. Um, one getting voted out, the other losing their advantage, and now it is it was something where the big move was there. They just, like you said, wanted to make a surprising move.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. But sometimes you gotta not make the surprising move. You gotta make the actual right best decision for your game.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes the right move is the right move for a reason. The obvious move is obvious for a reason.
Yeah, and especially after last week or last episode, it was a pretty big move already. Sometimes you gotta have a cool off episode where you're not doing something unexpected, because you gotta just, you created a course, just go with the course a little bit. Don't just immediately go away from it, because it's honestly, I do think it's going to be a lot of trouble right now for Cody and Jesse moving forward.
Yeah, I I mean, we're still too early in the merge to really like assess like where because like with how the votes went, it looks like Baka is out or a lot of the original Baka members are on the outs as well as who else kind of did not get as well as Noel.
Mhm.
Um so like and they did seem like they were trying to rally for like oh, let's take out the big dogs right now because they think they can just run the game. Uh, eh, yeah, I mean, it's tough to say like where things will go, whether this alliance of seven sticks together and
Mhm.
decides, yeah, it is us seven to the end, or it's still a little bit flexible right now, and not even to take into account the whole thing where at 10 they split up the tribe into halves and then they each vote out someone.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. So presumably one episode after this next one that's coming up.
yeah, it's tricky. But let's talk about the challenge for this episode.
MVP Gabler coming through.
I mean, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't like, whoa,
Yeah,
what the heck happened?
yeah.
He did seem like he did get a lot of like one, both him and Cody broke the record and stuff, and like Gabler, you know, is the winner of that now. I guess like the thing of like, we've always kind of seen Gabler, he's been presented as a joke this entire time. And
Mhm.
then like he did have like a big emotional like PSA moment, talking about like loved ones in his past and also talking about PTSD, specifically with veterans too.
Mhm.
Um, so like it was like an emotional win too. Um,
Yeah,
I,
and
I
he did that in front of like all these people who most of them now are on the jury, except for Dwight, of course. But like I feel like he maybe got enough, move there that he's not necessarily considered a goat now.
yeah, I think so. I mean, thing is, Gabler makes moves. They're just kind of like what they were talking about earlier. Like Owen was like Uh, because like Dwight was trying to make an alliance, keep the Vessi Baka tribe strong, and he was like, not sure if I want to go in with Gabler because he's a bit of a wild card.
Yeah,
So I mean, like we are seeing like I wouldn't say better gameplay because
oh yeah,
challenge beast, which I don't, we'll see more if Gabler is that,
yeah.
but someone who's strong at challenges doesn't always equate to someone who's good socially or strategic.
Yeah, well, also that last section, like I think Keith Nail's done it before, but that is definitely a Keith Nail like I can imagine Keith Nail being really good at that kind of challenge. And
Yeah,
Gabler, he's in that similar boat, an older guy, but he still has, I feel like he's just like stubborn and ornery that he's not going to give up on a challenge like that.
I did love how he was going nope as like within the past minute. I have Jeff is like saying that they're sacking and stuff, and he's like, nope, just tightens it up to which Cody wasn't able to do too. So like he was
Yeah.
kind of putting Cody in his place.
Yeah, that is hard after that long to still be able to keep like bringing it back to its original position. Like
Yeah, because you're fighting against gravity at that point.
exactly.
Um,
And your arms are already hurting after a few minutes of doing this. Like so for him to still be doing that like 15 minutes in.
yeah, it's crazy. Um, oh, sorry. I also
Okay.
liked how it was like in different sections. They were like, oh, okay, let's do it in like teams.
Yeah.
And it was like something different. It was like had that like new, different, like kind of if they do this moving forward, I think it would be a cool thing. I don't think they'll do it every season just because then they'll expect it.
Hmm.
But it was nice being like, yeah, this is kind of like a reminds me of kind of like Days of Old because like they don't really do the special challenges like this before where it's kind of like, oh, cuts it and then cuts it again. Like there's rounds where people are eliminated.
Yeah.
At least we haven't seen that in 41 and 42. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I enjoyed it. This episode really was mostly challenge. Like for the most
yeah,
part, the immunity challenge took up a huge part because at the beginning of it, you got the whole thing with Noel, which is the like first half of the challenge is kind of like going on with that, which when I saw that first leg of the challenge, oh, and no pun intended with that, but I saw the nets and I was just like, how is Noel going to get through this? Like the whole thing of it was to be like very like tight and constricting. Um, and I was definitely concerned. And then obviously it gets the challenge. Her and Janine have trouble. They basically get stuck there, which I'm just like, oh, that is just,
all right, to
that,
be fair, it took Jesse a while to get out of that.
yeah,
So I don't blame Janine too much
yeah,
because if you look,
yeah.
Jesse took quite some time to get through, and therefore, it kind of falls on Janine for not being able to get through because she didn't have as much time as everyone else.
Yeah, fair point. She definitely did seem like she just kind of stopped.
Well, I mean, I think it comes to a point where you're kind of like screwed. If you know you're like the last one to go through, everyone else is already kind of out. And like this is
Yeah.
like one of the most challenging courses of a challenge we've seen before.
Hmm.
The odds of you actually, making it out and like making a difference are very, very slim.
Yeah. How do you like that challenge though? The going through nets because I don't think we've seen this before. This is a new one.
No. Um, I thought it was fun. I don't like the fact that it pulls hair and stuff like that. That seems little. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, like that seems like a lot. Just because, like, that can hurt people. Um, like obviously, like you try and do your best not to like to get out of that and stuff. But other than that, conceptually, I think it's a pretty cool one.
Hmm.
It's a tricky obstacle to get through, and they might bring that part back in whatever shape or form.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was definitely interesting. Yeah. And then the let's see. So who all makes it through that one? We got Dwight and Cody, Gabler and Owen, Carla and Cassidy, and
And
Ryan
then
and
Ryan and
James.
James. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They end up proceeding on to the next leg of it. And it's the classic build a bridge with a few things and slowly make your way across. And make sure you have all three pieces on the platform at the end. Otherwise, you got to start over.
Yeah. And it was just like by the end, both Carla and James kind of like they messed up and stuff, and so there was no way to recover because Owen and Gabler were already across.
Yeah, which Carla's like fall, like I audibly gasped because she just like went full on backwards. Like it was definitely unfortunate there. I thought they were
Yeah,
gonna do it. I thought they were really close to being there. Which if they
they
do,
were. They were.
that's probably Cody winning immunity.
Yeah. Um, you know, that one's always a tricky one, let alone doing it with two people, because usually we see that and it's like either two or three, and like
Mhm.
it's an individual making through. So like having to do that with someone else, because like usually the strategy is like, oh, you just alternate the third one and put all your weight on the first two. Or like, something like that.
Mhm.
So having to navigate that with another person made that a little bit more tricky.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It seemed like the only one only pair who had a good concept from like start to end was Cody and Dwight. They seemed
Yeah.
to really power through it, where the other ones had to take some time to really figure out like what's the best way for them to get through it.
Yeah. I thing is they could work together nicely. It's just they don't mesh well personality wise.
Yeah, I don't know. Cody must see some salesman level in Dwight. I don't know.
I agree. Totally.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, and then obviously Gabler and Owen and Cody and Dwight make it to the last leg, which is now an endurance challenge. We get a it ends off with an endurance challenge, which I'm glad it's not a puzzle. It is different, I guess.
yeah.
We're used to seeing a puzzle at this point.
Yeah. I feel like it's also interesting doing an endurance challenge right after you already went through some stuff, because usually the endurance challenges are just on their own.
Mhm.
Which I think even to give even more credit to both Gabler and Cody, the fact that because usually when they do the bucket challenge, not that one, uh, not the ice bucket challenge, usually when they do that bucket challenge, or any kind of like endurance challenge on Survivor, it's usually its own thing.
Mhm.
Um, and so the fact that they had like obstacle course stuff prior to that, where they're a bit more worn out, and the fact that both Gabler and Cody were able to hold it on, break the record, and still do all that is rather impressive and speaks to both of them.
Yeah, not only breaking the record, but over doubling the records of what it
Yeah,
was
it's
before.
crazy.
Like that's but that you gotta respect both Cody and Gabler for being able to do that, because it was a two-person effort to get to that kind of level.
Yeah,
Because who knows, some of those other people who have won it, maybe they could have gone longer, but they didn't have someone else there to challenge them and make them go the distance.
I was thinking that. I was thinking that throughout. Because yeah, it's really dependent on who comes in second. I mean, I feel like then again, never flex on Survivor, because that could put a target on your back. But like Gabler could have been like, yeah, let's see how long you can actually do this, break that record a little more. But at the same time, it's like you don't need to show up like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Gabler this episode. I think he's winning this game. He's the new Bob Crowley. Let's go.
I mean, clearly he's made it further than we thought originally. Do
Yeah.
I think I don't know. He's still a wild card, and therefore it's tricky to like place where he may go out if he goes out. Um, so like he's just like one of those big question marks going in because I feel like everyone else has like a threat level where it's like you can kind of like gauge it like where they are threat wise. Gabler kind of surprised us with like how long he was able to endure, stuff like that. He
Hmm.
was able to target Ellie and, you know, get rid of her and stuff. Um, so he does have like pull, and he does have some challenge prowess. It's hard to say challenge prowess. We got to see if he actually, if there's like this was a one-time thing, or there's going to be some challenges down the road that he's not great at.
There's
Um,
definitely going to be challenges he's not good at. I think these endurance ones, which are actually now a bulk of immunity challenges, I actually think he might fare pretty well. I probably not the one where you're like hanging over water. I feel like that one's probably not going to be in his wheelhouse. But
yeah,
like stuff where it's like right here in front of you, you just kind of have to hold on and grip it. I think he's going to be pretty good.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, Gabler wins that, and then you know, kind of like what we talked about, James and Ryan seemed like the targets, and then James pulled out a you know, when he was at the water well with I believe it was Sammy, Owen, and Dwight, pulls out like something in a bottle, and then was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna open this right now, and then he was lucky it wasn't a beware thing
Hmm.
because I was half expecting it to be a beware advantage or something,
Hmm.
but he kind of gets that without, like, people knew about it obviously, but he got it without any issue basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone knows he
What
has
are
it,
what
but
are your thoughts on them now literally hiding clues in the water well where we know people are going to be going to very frequently?
I mean, I don't know if it was just that one time thing, but it's like you never know where things might
It felt like Survivor does not want to give up on the knowledge's power and really was
yeah,
like someone is getting this advantage and they're going to use it. God damn it.
but will James use it correctly?
I
That's
don't
the
think
big
so.
thing.
I think if people know that you have the knowledge's power, the knowledge's power becomes much less powerful.
Yeah, because like you can just, I'd say the toughest thing about navigating it is like if you have an advantage, you don't want to like bring it
Yeah.
because like, oh, it might get snatched away. But then
Yeah.
again, at the same time, it's
Yeah.
kind of like being having an idol and being nullified. Like if you have an advantage and someone takes it away and you're on the chopping block, then you're
Yeah.
kind of screwed either way.
Yeah, when also if you're someone who originally has an advantage, you now want that person gone because now you have to play this musical advantage with everyone and trying to give it to someone who you don't think they're going to choose. So you kind of actually lose your power by this even just existing.
Yeah,
So you kind of get put in this position where you have to kind of make the move earlier than wait super long and play like most of the game without your idol.
yeah. Which I feel like it was surprising that they did not take out James. I know like Survivor is like, all right, here's option one, but wait, option two. Uh, and I feel like they could have just easily got rid of James. If everything kind of played out the way it was, he would have still been convinced it was Dwight going home, yada yada. And then yeah, we'll see how it goes moving forward. I don't think getting rid of Dwight was a horrid idea or a bad one.
Mhm.
Uh, it mostly benefited Cody, and then you know obviously bad, or obviously was bad for Noelle losing her like number one, and then also Janine losing an ally and you know her advantage.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
So
It definitely, I think, benefited Coco as a whole to not lose another one of their members. And yeah, I think it's just a good spot for like especially Carla. Even though Carla did like had zero confessionals this episode, I felt like her influence was very big on the episode.
well, I mean, you do see people go up and talk to her.
Mhm. Yeah, Jesse is like willing to basically totally flip ship and work with Carla now. Like he's our like people just want to work with Carla.
Yeah, and I think that just plays into her social game very, very well.
Yeah, and Jesse and Carla working together, the two biggest players. If they end up actually going through this game, it could be scary for people.
Power alliance, power couple,
Mhm.
basically.
Yep. Um. Okay. What else? On this episode that happens.
I think that was pretty much everything. Yeah. Because like the challenge itself took up a majority of the episode.
Yeah.
Um, it was like, at the beginning was like, all right, where should we go number wise? And then this one, it was like James getting the advantage, and then, Jesse and Cody like wanting to either A, target Noelle or weaken her. And that was kind of it. Then we were at Tribal. So yeah, that's kind of like what all happened this episode.
Yeah,
So
it's just so crazy that you're literally wanting to weaken someone who's supposed to be in with you at this point. Like if this was like final 8 or 7, like that totally makes sense to either target Noel here or make it so that she doesn't have control for like the next vote or something. But like we still have 11 people in this game. There's a long ways of this game to play so far, and it was just I think they just saw the move and didn't question if they should do it or not. I think they just saw the move and did it.
yeah. Um, I mean, yeah, we just have to see how that pans out with them. They don't really because like the thing about getting alliance members early on, and Coco actually had a little bit of this beforehand, where it's like, oh, if we cannibalize our alliance early on, that kind of sets a tone for an alliance where it's like, okay, we're willing to get rid of Lindsay early on. When Cassidy was kind of like showing the same traits as Lindsay, it's like, well, okay, well, do we get rid of Cassidy? Are we really going to do this? And, Carla and James are just looking at each other. We're like, if we do this, we're just going to, it's hard to trust because we keep backstabbing each other.
Mhm.
Um, so doing that so early on in the merge, uh, it can definitely hurt both of them in the long run. I do want to mention in the preview, we do see Cody's little hat again.
It makes a
So
return. Is he playing his idol next episode?
we'll
Is
see.
is he going to put it back into the hats and then give Jeff the hat?
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, thing is, with that knowledge of power, you have to, because people know about the beads. They
Oh, that
know
would be
about all.
so funny if James gets to wear the hats.
I don't think it's going to go down that way, but it's
I don't
like
think so either, but that would be hilarious.
it would. It would.
um yeah, okay, let me do a quick little recap here then on the confessionals then if we've pretty much covered most of it. So Janine is now has the third most confessionals on this season. She's
I feel
been
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's mostly because the last 3 episodes she's gotten 7 confessionals, 5 confessionals, and 6. Um, whereas she was pretty absent previously, but she's really just started popping off recently. Um, so who
Yeah,
knows if that what that means? Are we getting an Erica edit from Janine?
we'll have to see. I mean, the luck factor for her just, I was thinking that where it could definitely be that, but like, I don't know, her luck is just so bad right now. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. It's just like straight up, who lose it? She made history, first one to lose their idol by giving it to someone else who got voted out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's crazy that that's never happened.
no, I guess because the benefit of like doing that is it's still playable in tribal council where it's like, okay, if you do need this, you just have that person play it for you.
Mhm.
Because obviously you're going to give that advantage to someone you trust.
Exactly.
Um, and you know, the flip side, bringing it or like keeping it back at camp and stuff, you do lose. You don't have the opportunity for them to steal it or anything, but you are still vulnerable. I do think them switching advantage and stuff like that was a good idea. It just did not fare well
Mhm.
for Dwight and Janine.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So yeah, that's Janine there. Cody still is the confessional leader with 33 confessionals on the season. He has been a little quieter recently. So not as front and center as he was those first like 3 or 4 episodes that we got. But he's still making sure we're checking in with him every episode still, regardless.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Jesse's second, obviously Janine's third. Ali Gabler is fourth with 23. And then who's our fifth place? I
To
guess
Carla.
yeah, it's Carla. Oh, actually, Carla's tied with Janine. My bad.
Oh, okay. All
So,
right.
yeah.
I mean, yeah. I know you said in the past that what is it, confessional count does can some can like lead to like who it may be. Uh, Out of these top five, who do you think has the best winners at it?
Well, I think the traditional winners at it right now is being given to Jesse, but I don't think that he's going to win the season.
No. I like Jesse. I think he's definitely like a very unique individual and stuff like that. And he does have that social game and kind of aggressiveness every now and then to like stand for what he wants to
Mhm.
happen.
Yeah, I'm still kind of in the boat that I think Carla's winning the game. If I had to choose one person, I'd probably say Carla. I mean, but I do think that based off what we're seeing edit wise, I do think Cody has an actually really good chance of doing it.
I feel I'll be perplexed if it does happen. Um, I feel you're right with Carla. I feel like she is probably out of just in general, I feel like she definitely has the best shot of winning
Mhm.
because I know I throw around sleeper threat every now and then. She is kind of one of those.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the show's making it let us know that people don't see her as this big strategic threat, but
No,
we do. We know she's this big strategic threat, but no one else does, which means she's going to probably make it quite far in this game without people knowing until maybe near the end of the game.
yeah. And I think that makes it interesting to watch because definitely you have your bigger characters, your biggest strategic people. But when you get to that end, it's always nice still having those strategic people around,
Hmm.
which is why, sleeper threats are so cool because, like, they still give you stuff near the end of the game.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I let me ask you one question here. Who do you think is being purpled on the season so far? Who has the least amount of confessionals?
I know it was originally Dwight, because you said he didn't get one at the merge, or
Yeah,
the
well,
merge
he
40
he had
episode.
more confessionals than someone else.
All right, let me go through in my head.
Okay, we need suspense music right now.
Yeah, I'm like really thinking. Is it James?
It is not James.
Cassidy?
It is not Cassidy.
Ryan?
It is Ryan.
Okay.
He has only 11 confessionals on the season.
Hmm.
which is crazy because it feels like he's seen quite often, but
I mean, he has a
very
big
rarely in a
presence.
confessional.
He has a big presence, and he's always targeted in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, yeah, but if you're a person who's technically given like the purple, like the who cares, let's give him very little screen time, and it feels like people are like, hey, I know who that person is. That's a pretty good sign for the edits.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well that pretty much wraps it up there for my little edit journey to keeping track here. Okay. Should we just get into our MVPs and LVPs?
Yeah, yeah. I say this episode's a wee bit tough because it's always that what's good right now may not be good later on, and therefore might always be
Yeah,
tricky. Because I don't think there was any like clear cut LVP this episode.
I think there is.
I mean, I would say maybe James in the sense of like revealing the fact that he had advantage, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think James has went from being someone who could have easily slept his way like very far into the game, to now suddenly being the person that all these power players are going to want out in the next few episodes.
Yeah, I will say the only reason I was a little reluctant to give him LVP is the fact where he does have an advantage, and it does put a target on his back. But if he, for whatever reason, plays it right, um, you know, because yes, he gained a pretty good advantage, and it did mix up the game because Janine lost her idol as a result of that. Now, whether that was directly, indirectly, supposed to happen, that's a whole other thing. But
Mhm.
he did like get rid of an advantage in the game just by having that advantage. So there is like a subtextual like benefit for him getting that where because it kind of changes up the game a little bit. And
Yeah.
as a result, Dwight left with someone else's idol.
I think if he doesn't tell people, I think he's actually a candidate for MVP of the episode. But because he
Yeah,
tells people, I think that his knowledge is power became like not good anymore. Like I think
yeah,
people are now going to just move their advantages around until James goes, and because it's an inconvenience to do that for every tribal, he's gonna probably be targeted in like the next two tribal councils.
I can see that. I can see that. MVP. I feel like it should go to Gabler.
That's who I'm giving it to. Gabler gets MVP.
I mean, beforehand, because he's got an LVP so much on our channel, you know, but like, he
This was a
did
good
some good
episode for him.
yeah, exactly. He won the first like individual immunity challenge.
Yeah,
He also you know, moved the hearts of people there. Yeah, he shouted out Noel specifically.
yeah.
But like, and he also broke a record. Well, technically both Cody and Gabler did, but like by a few seconds, Gabler is the current record holder for that.
Exactly, and that's it's pretty nuts to say Gabler holds a record in Survivor.
Yeah. If you said that prior to the season, I'm like, really? I mean, anything's possible, but like he does seem like the very unlikely one to do it. But hey, he won MVP this week, so
So good on
expect.
him. Yeah,
I
who
know
knows?
it's a big
This
brother term, but expect the unexpected sometimes.
he could be having a crazy surge right now. He who knows? He could make the pre-merge seem like it just doesn't even matter now that Ellie's gone.
Sure, we'll see. We'll see. Gabler definitely was a great addition to this season.
Hmm.
Because he's
He's
just
good
made it like
entertainment.
interesting.
Like regardless of gameplay and stuff, like he's entertaining. So
Yeah,
that's all we
yeah,
can ask for of a Survivor player. As long as you're entertaining, whatever.
I agree. What? The sneeze is coming. Sneeze is coming.
Here it
Is it?
comes.
No.
Nope. A false sneeze. Oh, that no, it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. You never know.
Mhm.
Just like in Survivor, you never truly know.
uh okay. So yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it here. I believe. I think we've covered pretty much everything we need to do. Got our LVP and MVPs. And yeah, make sure if you guys are interested, go check out our polls on our community page. Go ahead, go click on all of them. There's a bunch of good ones there. Let your voice be heard. Comment on them also if you want. Yeah, we want to interact with you guys. So there you guys go.
Yeah. It'll be fun. It'll be
Yeah.
fun. All righty.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode. I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.